Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are starting the SHINee Marathon of the month. Very excited about this. It has been such a long time since I've looked at anything SHINee related, and I really haven't seen a ton of their choreography either, so I just cannot wait to get into this. So how I'm going to be doing these is I'm going to be looking at their dance versions of their music, regardless of how grainy or how clear it is, because I know they are a part of the generation that did not have dance practices until dance practices were a thing, and some people have even cited SHINee as one of the pioneers to creating dance practices and making them a thing. So I think that's super dope. And so we are looking at replay today. We're going to be looking at the dance version. It is at 720p, which means it's going to be grainy, but we're going to enjoy it and vibe out with it. Not only that, I do know the choreographer is RINO and we're going to be looking at RINO do an excerpt of this choreography as well, just to do a little bit of a compare and contrast, just to expose my brain of the choreographer's intention, and then we're going to go back and kind of take a look and glean what we can. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. You know what's so crazy to me? Each of their voices are so iconic. Could I tell you who is who? I think this is Key. Their names are gonna get memorized so quickly, because I know most of them. Except for one, I think. Maybe we'll guess on the second one, like actually like talk through each member. Because you guys, we're vibing it out just the way that we are. I love the fact this is a freaking one-take fixed cam. I swear. We need to bring this back in the performance versions. I swear. Golly. Oh, there's a cut. I just said that they did a big old cut. Replay, replay. So I'm familiar with the song. Love that. Yes, the little kick step hat and a kick step. Wow, this actually caught me off guard. It's so much better. It's so much better than I was expecting. Like, not gonna lie. Because most of my Jin2 experience, there were mostly idols that sang the head dancing as like an accessory, not as at the forefront as much. So this was very surprising in a great way. So let's go ahead and look at RINO, do just like an excerpt of this, just so I can see kind of the fingerprint translation, and then we're gonna talk about SHINee. This to be RINO's in the blue? Yeah. Oh, okay, RINO's in the black tank top. There you go. Yeah. Oh, that was fun. Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay, let's go back to SHINee. Okay, so we're back over to SHINee. And when I said that I knew all except one, that was a lie. I was thinking about another group. I know all of them here because they've either done acting or because with just the exposure I've had for various things, of course, with one of the members here, Jonghyun, he is no longer with us. And so I am very much made aware of him, as well as Ki, Onu, Taemin, and Minho. So I'm very familiar with Ki and Minho specifically. Onu because of his acting, and then Taemin because he pops up on the algorithm as a solo artist often. So all that to say, I do know, I could very easily know who is who here. So normally for a marathon, my goal is to know about half of the group. By the end of it, I know all of them, and it's at 7:20 p. Now, could I take a guess here? Would I go completely blind as to guess who was who in this video? Maybe, just for funsies, but we'll see. We're here to talk about the dance, but like I said, very surprised at not the cleanliness, but from some of the content in it, if that makes sense. I feel that I was not expecting some of the movements to actually have like meatiness to it, if that translates. But let's go ahead and talk through this. So during this era, what was really heavy, like this really does bring me to a very nostalgic time, because there was an era of like, I remember Wi-Sung covering a song Insomnia and by Craig David, and that's probably one of the most core memory based songs for me of this era or this time period before I really got, well no, it was actually when I got really into K-pop was when I saw that kind of correlation. And so this just rings that kind of R&B aesthetic the way Craig David would in the 2000s, and it's making me warm and fuzzy on the inside, and I kind of I'm really excited about that. If you know, just kind of going through with this group specifically, because like I said, I haven't really analyzed their movement before. So I feel part of me is really grateful for the fact that I haven't, like I didn't watch their content as much, because I get to find the joy of looking at it now with this lens, you know? So let's go ahead and look at it from the top. So from the beginning here, I love the poses. Notice that we went low and different levels are represented here and looking in different directions except for your point feature in the front. And then from here, having them move and create a transition or a moment into a transition was really fun. And it's symmetrical. Yeah, because they're a group of 5 for the majority of the career. It is nice. We are going to see some pretty great symmetry in play for some of their formations. I would say spacing on this part just a little bit, you know, refined, but also note that they are resetting for a new formation. And so the other 2 that are moving now, they aren't in that formation yet. So it makes sense why the spacing was a little bit off over on stage right. So the switching through, love that turning down, bringing it in with the heel toe heel. And I love with the extra down bounce. It's like it's with the rocks here. This really reminds me a lot of choreography along that the R&B choreography. And this is around the era where that really pops off in this type of way. So do I feel like there's a bit of there's a bit of a stiffness or there's a bit of a lag in between some of the movements? Yes. Do I think that tailors to the era that we're in? Also yes. If this was operating in 2024, remember I am coming at it from a 2024 lens. If this was supposed to happen in 2024, the notes that I would give were tailored to that. But here I am very aware of the era that we're in. This is very much trending in structure. So seeing the switch, notice with one of them, he kind of moves over his hat. That was a nice little feature moment with him. I love that little heel with a heel twist with a toe tap with the heel to the toe. It's just a nice progression. It's nice to have the head and everybody's on the same page of where their head and their leg is going. They come up. I love the switch. Boom. There. This sequence is what I was just referencing. You know, that boom, boom. Very clear. It can come across stiff, but you notice they are being intentional with what their body is doing. So it's not technically stiff. The timing or the lack of connection between the points. So each move is like a point, and it's not connecting, you know, or it's very sharp into the movements, which is why it comes across the way that it does. But once again, it is time of the era, not quite really anything extensive beyond that. Diving it down, I do feel like that was a V, and then we go right there into the diagonal. Spacing just a smidgen off here over near the front, but nothing crazy. Everybody's very clear with their head, very easy to forgive on that. And then having your feature, taking it really nice where they all committed, and notice the sharpness of the head as they move over. This is really nice. This is making me like, this really just makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. It feels nostalgic. It feels like, what's the word? I think like during this era for me, I just think about I think about myself a lot of my time in this era, because it's just different. Because all the marathons I've done so far, it's been 2017, 2019. I was an adult in all of those. Here, I was a kid. You know, like I was, man, 2009. I was like in middle school, I think. You know, so this is like, whew. I'm just seeing a little bit of like little Jess, you know, just thinking about what I enjoyed during this time, and that just being able to, I don't know, I feel like I get to do a little bit of, not healing, but I get to kind of come in as an older Jess and be like, Jessica, it's okay that you really enjoyed K-pop when you did, because it was before it really popped up, pre-Gangnam Style, you know. It's a way before the Hallyu wave. It was such a niche in America at the time, at least in my neck of the woods. So for me, I was definitely in the minority in terms of listeners. And so this is kind of like, I don't know, it's just hitting a little different. I can't quite pinpoint what it is, and I think over the course of marathon, maybe I'll pinpoint it some more. But yeah, it's making me feel some sort of way. It's really diving me back in the nostalgic part of my life. And I just finding a lot of joy right now, I think, just being able to like confidently talk about what makes this routine look so cool. Ooh, man, it's not even, guys, it's just the first freaking video of the marathon. What are we going to be doing? Okay. But anyway, great feature, have they all, and they continue to dance as they progress towards the back. And they're still facing the back, so the feature is still very easy to see. I would say my note here, it does feel like we're not quite sure where our fourth individual is. Because you see dancer here and here and here, naturally you would want there to be some form of balance happening here. I'm assuming he could be hiding right behind here. That's absolutely fine. I'm just kind of taking a look here. I'm just not sure where he is. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be my note, is to have him kind of move out a little bit so it's still symmetrical as they turn. I'm not quite sure as to why he was hiding maybe behind one of the other members. It could just be because they're facing the back. It's hard to set that formation, which is absolutely fine. Divvying it down. New feature. I love that boom and the tinge and drop. I really love that choice. It's very clean, guys. It's very clean. And boom and a boom. Really love that kind of b-boy stance kind of vibe. I really like that. Kicking it through. They use their hand as a fixed point a little bit to bring that other hand in. That's so fun. not ranajam, but they definitely move the hands and the leg around in the air, dropped it down, head. They are doing a fantastic job. Definitely one of my favorite things I'm noticing so far with SHINee here is their usage and intention of where their head goes. There hasn't been a moment where their head has just kind of like dwindled or created a sense of distraction. It's been very clear who they want me to focus on, and it is so poor quality in comparison to what we normally see in these K-pop analysis. And so that makes me really excited to see what else we're going to see progress in the future for them. And I love the opposition of having your four go one direction and then having your feature go the opposite direction. Great way for us to see your feature there, hitting through, boom, da-da-da. And look at the range and the fullness of that arm as they come up. And right there, they continue with there's a lot of bouncing and a lot of rock utilization here. And I think that's something that shocks me the most. And and I've already kind of touched on it. It's something that really tailors to the era of just pop music, not K-pop, pop music, is this type of choreography movement. And so I'm very much a fan of seeing this here done this well executed, personally. Bring it in, boom, look at the little accent of the body. Did you see that? It's just, that was really crisp coming from stage right. With the little ranajams once again. For me, my note here, you do notice they do kind of lean the body a little bit. For me, I'm always a fan of letting this legato groove through because it's R&B. It has that kind of it has a potential sex appeal vibe to it. This song, I know it's more so about unrequited love, you know, pain, longing, unrequited, you know, pain of longing of having to separate from someone that they know is not, they're not going to be able to be with, you know. So I know that, I understand that. For me, whenever you do R&B, a lot of it comes from the subtleties, like teasing, the sensualness. Now here I know it's not quite that. It's more of that pain and processing through it, you know. This is very much telling of the time. I low-key wish that there would be more music. I hope this genre of the R&B comes back. Oh, that would be so nice. Conceptually too, especially in the K-pop realm, I'd be such a vibe for that. But I would say with these kind of ranajams that they were doing, I don't know what having the body have a little bit more of a legato with the shoulder, because right now it's great. I think that would just be the one thing I'm excited to see with them, is their usage of their body more in the legato and in the smoothness, because right now they got the rock and the bounce, but depending on the genre or concept they do, this kind of groove can really help kind of showcase and fill the music more. So that's something I'm looking forward to. It's not even an issue here, it's just an observation, and I love it. This is great. And then right there, they go around with a nice hinge, having our feature have his moment with the hand. It looks like he's controlling them. It's clean and effective and simple. Love it. And I love they even lean to create a beautiful transition in between the lines. Beautiful windows right there. They're keeping this groove going, but they're making it more up, and a lot of that has to do with their posture and their arms, because they made it a little bit lower, or they made the range more full in that first half of that course. Yeah, and then right there having your two feature in the center, and then they go doom doom boom, turn once again, head, intentional, love that. And then they go in, woo, tension, they kept going the whole time, bleeding and filling up their music before they snap back up. Man, God, that makes me enjoy this so much. Yeah, that ding 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 ding. Notice the opposition of the chest with the hips. You're able to see that range, and that's the little thing I was already talking about. Seeing that more, seeing that progress and mature. I cannot wait to see a matured SHINee groove pocket. It's gonna be so good. Yeah, right there, even with the feet, boom. Everything has intention behind it. Really nice. It did feel like a Running Man or a repeat Running Man there. I wouldn't really equate it to that. Little shamrock, that replay. That's so good. Now do I feel like it may be a little, yeah, it's very clear, replay. This is very like, this is tour kind of shamrock is what that move is. But like if you want to like feel it, replay, that would be where that chest, that, you know, that you could add in there to make it yours. But they are definitely taking the choreography route of being clean. So that I completely understand. And then notice instead of going on the toe, they use the heel to twist. So it's just like slightly varied. And then bringing it through. We are seeing, I would say, a common denominator here. A lot of the ranajam. So like that sliding rotation around the leg. That definitely for sure here. with the points here. Love that too. Ding, ding, really nice basic. This is like basic tutting, but notice they're complementing it with the feet. They're not just doing the arms, so it feels more full because the upper body and the lower body are involved. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. Really nice to bring just the cleanliness of the hands. Then also I appreciate they use their back here, not just their arms, because using the back allows the torso to get involved and not make it overly isolated, because this type of song you don't want to be too isolated with. Now there's other songs, of course, depends on the concept and also depends on the sound context, music production, and cultural background of the percussions, or how that music composition comes together. Because if you understand the culture behind the composition, you're going to want to make sure you carry that energy throughout your choreography, so it feels like the connection is a lot deeper than just listening to a song or writing lyrics over music, you know? So it's little details like that. I love that too. It's a beautiful, nice little, I wouldn't call this, I just refined this literally today. It's a canon. Now there's various different types of canons. There's like a simultaneous canon and a echo and initial effect. There's, or voice and echo. For this, it's a one person goes, then the next people go on the replay. Actually, maybe it's not quite it's more so just an accent, I think. They're doing the same move, but they're going in a particular, it's like subsequential, is that what it's called? I don't know. You know what, hold on. Okay, it looks, I think it's called a reverting canon, based on just the very information that I gleaned, where it's a dancer does a movement from beginning to end, and then the subsequent dancers begin at the movement, it's just the exact same movement phrase in different intervals. So I think this would be an example of that. I think it's a reverting canon in this particular type of canon, because there's different types of different variables or dynamics or formations. That's what this is called, I think. Don't quote me on it. You can look it up yourself too, but that's something based on the structure of this. That's what I believe the type of canon this is. But moving on from here, replay. Yep, and then right there they do a nice little ranajam. So maybe I guess my note, or just something I've observed we are doing, I think I've already noticed it, a lot of ranajams. That's kind of like our go-to, because it does give off a little bit of a gliding motion, which can help bring a different dynamic across without having to understand the fundamentals of gliding as much. But that would be my little note maybe of exploring various ways of ranajamming outside of just your typical ande or, which is going to the outside. But it doesn't bother me. It's just a note. It's not even like a fix-it thing. It's just something that we've once again observed. And this right here, I love that sequence. They go to the front, da, 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 like a kick step, and then they kick behind. And I went ahead and double checked just to make sure before I just said it. That's a crip walk, or it's a variance of a sea walk. If you don't know what a crip walk is, crip is like the, in the, I think it was in the 80s, right? 80s, 90s, where they had the Bloods and the Crips. So it's the sea walk of that. It's of that era. It derives there. Here's the thing. I have not been within gang culture whatsoever. I have studied it to a certain degree, not enough to be able to confidently tell you more than what I just said. So please, if that's something that you're like, you want to dive in, be curious. I hope, if anything, that my videos make you more curious about the things that I bring up, because I know a lot of times I do keep it very broad by just stating what it's called, but I don't really like dive super deep into it, just depending on what it is and how much I personally know in the initial talking about it. But that's like, they're doing variants of like sea walks, different types of walks, a little bit of shamrock. So you have some hip hop fundamentals in here with names, and that's honestly another thing that I like about it too, is that we're allowing those fundamentals to shine in this context. I just think it's fun. But then right there, little variant, and they do it once again, but they just use it as a nice transition to go to a straight line. Nice little boom. Everybody gets to have their own moment. They're framing out towards the diagonal, which I really like. Yep, once again, everybody's making their own choices, individual choices, but you can very clearly tell who they want to be the focal point for it. Yeah, nice with the arm, bringing it out to the outside and allowing the feet to kind of take the forefront, taking a subtle fixed point with the arm, noticing that it's kind of staying where it is and and our body's kind of moving rogue. I really like that as well. Sliding it in, bringing it through, and have a little accent. The torso is what makes that work so well, because if they just did the legs, it would feel very stiff, but adding that torso in opposition, which is something that I made a note of about B2B, that would be a reference or something that they wanted to improve some of the grooves. Those are really good go-to kind of things you can explore when you are working on grooves, is think opposition with the chest in comparison to where your legs are going. That's something that's going to allow more fullness and range of a typical basic intermediate, beginner intermediate kind of grooves, like kind of what you see here. Now, the polyrhythmic or syncopation that they're doing is more intermediate. There's nothing about this that screams overly difficult. The synchronicity, you can tell the discipline is what can make it look and appear more difficult because of the crispness of it. And that's what I really, really like. Yeah, right there. Just that, you notice that dig. They allowed the body to go first and drug that leg in. It's probably one of my favorite parts. Right there, everybody looks. Very important. Very easy for us to see our next feature. Moving through. I love that too. Kicking through, now having your feature over on the side, everybody building up their energy once again in that pre-chorus like we saw before. Right there, did you see that little chug? And that it created more energy of that build out right here in the second pre-chorus, and I really love that. Noticing we had one dancer, I think he was in opposition of everybody else. Yeah, so like you have everybody facing away, only one of them projecting forward. Easy for us to catch who your feature is. So maybe my one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is how they explore featuring each other. Because right now we are seeing a common pattern of them being featured in the center or obviously to one side. Very rarely are we seeing them kind of pop up or in different like transitional ways. But we are seeing them kind of like, okay, we switch lines, new reveal in the center. Okay, switch lines, new reveal in the center. We're not seeing like, a lot of times I think a trend right now in like the 4th, 5th generation is the circular reveals or the curtain reveal. Here we're seeing more of just the switching lines, the windowed reveals, which here's the thing, I like. I think all of them, there's beauty in all of it. And so that's something I'm looking forward to seeing here, because I know we're going to be seeing a lot of exploration with this group. I like that right there. Also, you see each one accenting off, not doing the same thing as your feature, but they are having a moment to emphasize what is going on with your feature. I think this is another type of canon. Let me go double check. So I thought this was a cumulative canon, but it's actually a loose canon, I think, where it's you have one person. A cumulative is when you have one person does the entire phrase and then you have people join in. While it's happening. For me, I would honestly call that an add-on, but that's what kind of canon it is. But then a loose canon, I think, has way more variety and levels and more freestyle moments. So I think that would be more of an accurate term for this. But it's still it's nice to see because it caters and it frames well. Noticing that we're seeing different canons displayed showcases balance, but also keeps within a particular realm of what you want us to take a look at and showcasing your members. And so this was really nice where everybody had their own moment, but also had your feature state the feature for all of this, hitting it through that boom. Once again, really love the chest being used. Boom. Yeah, I love that ding, 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 and love that boom. That was the accent with the slow tension. So good. Bringing it in. Of course, he brings them in. He said, come on. They're all getting a little bit closer. Love that. Yep, honestly, look at the frame out. Love the poking out of the levels. Doing a good job being represented. Now we're a little bit closer in the formations because it allows this formation to look even better as they expand out. That was fun. Yep, boom, really nice. Seeing that full commitment on both sides to extend out. That's why that felt really clean, is because it was clean from how they started. Not one arm coming in faster than the other. It felt like both got the same amount of love in their timing and they brought it back out. The range is so good here. Yep, once again, we got that R&B, that ebb and flow right there. Right there, of course, we've already kind of talked about that boom, ding, and with the heel, with the toe, with the heel, toe heel. Then, of course, a little bit of that chugging. Once again, little Running Man vibe, but instead of doing like a true Running Man, they kind of double it up on one side. So those are little details of what I think, what I like about this. It doesn't look like a true, like OG basic hip hop party groove. It's They vary it up ever so slightly, so it feels like it tailors really well in the sequence that they have. So this is a great example of being a timeless routine, because there's some routines that you see in the K-pop realm where they feel very dated, but it's because they're using the viral equivalents. Like, they're not, the viral move's not the problem. It's using the viral move in its viral context. Because if you take a viral move, like let's say the sturdy, and you do the pattern of what made the sturdy viral in the first place, it's not going to read as your own or not read innovative in any way. It's going to read that you just kind of took a snapshot of the era that you're in and just put it on your routine, versus making it feel like it's a part of the routine. And I think that's why I make that note in general. I noticed it with psychers and I noticed it with ATs respectively. Here, this is a great and fantastic example of, yes, these are more of like the old school grooves, and yes, it has a special place in my heart for just the beauty of the culture represented by these moves. But notice that they're not just doing the moves in their viral form, or maybe these moves weren't viral, they were part of the social scene. So that's why they were viral in a different context, I think is my point. Which is why these, whenever they choose, they kind of just invert them ever so slightly. They're not just doing a running man, they're doing a syncopated running man, or modifying it ever so slightly to where it feels like they took enough time to understand how that movement within the style would best fit them, if that kind of makes sense. And that, honestly, kudos to RINO for that, because I know RINO was the choreographer for it, which is really nice. Even instead of going with the toe, they went with the heel on that. Bringing it through, bringing it up, and loving having your feature. He was the one who went a little bit lower, still kept us there. And then having an add-on, instead of it being from 1 and then having the 2, he went with the 1 and then the 1 and then he joined in. And then I think we're gonna have one more. No, both of them. Yeah, ding, ding, boom. But notice our feature's going a little bit lower. Helps us notice who they still want us to do. But I don't know if that was everybody. So if it was everybody, I guess something that I'm intrigued on is if he was supposed to be our feature in that moment, or if everybody was supposed to be. And I'm wondering if that was just their own freedom of choice, or some of them took a more laid back approach, where you're seeing over here on stage left, or some of them just go a little bit deeper. That I'm not sure if we were trying to do different levels, or if we're trying to have our own individual perspective. That's something that I would, I'm just curious about. With the snaps, great, they get to kind of do their own thing. You see his little baby monastery, or little chicken head that he was doing there? It was so subtle. I know it wasn't like the full one. It just felt like it was just a little bit of essence involved there, which was fun. Then diving it in, really nice with the heel taps, dropping it down, like what we saw once again, having your feature over on the side, and the reveal once again, and a little check mark formation. Yeah, range is not quite as refined in this section as we've seen in some of their other sections, which is fine because it's very minor. And you can tell because their chest and their rotation that they're doing in their range of their upper body is not on the same page. They're not snapping back at the same time or rotating the chest in the same, not direction, but in the same timing, going and resetting to neutral. So I love this here. With the clap, and that was like the most obvious cut. You remember what I said. I was like, oh, I love the fact it's a one take, and then that happened. But here's the thing. I hope for Gen 5, because there's a lot of things that have already been changing with Gen 5. I hope we bring something like this back, where with the performance videos, we don't cut to so many different close-ups, you know? I feel like the music video is a perfect place to do that. But for the performance one, I just find it beautiful to just do like a fixed cam shot with the vibe and the music video in the back. Like, that's really fun for me. I really like this because I get to appreciate the choreography, you know, in the concept and in the fits and costuming and perspective that they want me to. I think that's something that I wish I had more of, is stuff like this, because when I watch the performance versions of things, it's so hard to be able to look at the choreography because there's so many movements taking place to overcompensate for certain movements that I want to see, right? And so I think I wish the fixed cams for dance practices were fixed cams on music video sets. I swear that would have been like the perfect thing for me, because I'd be able to understand exactly what kind of concept they're going for, but also pay attention to that choreography in isolation and not have to rely upon editing of camera work to be able to show whether or not they're competent within the artistry of the craft. They are. I just want to see it, you know? So I think that's what I love the most about this out of everything. And I hope they bring this back. I love the fullness of what he's doing here. and everyone's kind of vibing out, doing their own thing. I love the spirit hands right here. Boom. Sugar glider, my guy, with a little radish. Notice he is keeping it up a little, like very, very full. Using that lower back very interestingly in the arch. Read it through. It's just, it does read a little bit different in pocket and posture compared to everything that we had seen up until that point. But he did break out, and it did feel like I got to see a little bit of his personal movement quality because it was different than what we saw from the actual choreo. But it still kept within timing and within the movement kinespheric range of what we've seen before. Yeah, right here, once again, we have the ch and ch, very R&B, what is it? Not maybe Boys to Men vibe, I think, right? That kind of move, that replay, bring it around. Yep, boom, over it through, boom. Nice little shoulder roll right there. Yeah, of course, you got that with the invert. Love it. It does give a little bit of Michael in there, but nothing, I wouldn't even call it a Michael Jackson. Maybe influence, but not enough to really see they're referencing him. But you can see that in some of the pop vibes right there. And it does feel like they're going, is it? So what they're doing is they're doing a heel toe, but they're going cross out, cross out. Like, that's really fun. It's different than just like your typical kind of chug. They're crossing it with the heel toe. That's another example of, you know, like a typical kind of transition, but they're doing it ever so slightly to make it a little bit more tailored to replay. It makes it more notable. Yep, and very sharp on the transition over. Yep, great moment right here shared. Yep, ding, 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 with a little, and I love the expansion of the formation. Little crip walk, little C walk right there. Now, here's the thing. There's so many different variants of the C walk, so please forgive me if I'm not being specific enough on that. But that is a C walk. And you can look up crip walk, CRIPWALK, or the C walk, and you'll see so many different variants. It depends on the community, depends on the era, honestly. And that's definitely, it's a very nice area that you can kind of get curious about, because I did mention this about the what was it, Sturdy? Sturdy, originally, before there was Sturdy, there was the woo walk. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's always something more to learn within things that we find joy in. And that's what I'm really enjoying this, because it motivates me to want to go and be curious and be like, that feels so familiar and nostalgic. Let's rediscover the actual names of these things, because it's growing me as an individual who fell in love with this craft at a young age, and being able to revisit it while also nostalgically thinking about my younger self. It's just, I don't know, it's just a weird level of motivation, if that makes sense. I love that there. Look, you see this? Come on. This I can get behind. If they do this all freaking day, smooth sailing, my guys. I love that so much. Yeah, that's just so nice to see. And then right there, going right there into a nice little jack, and then isolating, ding, 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 dropping it down. And once again, boom, ch, boom, ch. Notice that they're kind of having that little staccato with the bevel. That's so nice. Yep. And then they walk back forward, and then they all get to expand outward. So you want to talk about a debut that feels iconic? This one feels like that. This made me so happy. It's hard for me to stop smiling, because it's just, like I said, it's made me feel a lot of feelings in a very short amount of time, and who cares about the fact this is in 720? I am absolutely loving the fact that we have officially started and getting to enjoy this together. I loved this. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you want to see more SHINee, I am, for the very beginning of this marathon, the first 7 SHINee reactions that I tackle and analyze will be made available onto YouTube. And then what will we be doing is following the comeback schedule of SHINee. I'm still debating on whether or not we're going to just go off soloists, or if we're going to go off the group itself in terms of how the older reactions are going to come out. But my intention is to take a look at all of their work, including the soloists. So I cannot wait to dive into it. And if you're seeing this on YouTube in 2024, especially in the month of February, really good chance that I'm still actively involving myself in the marathon. And if you want to be a part of the dialogue on the later reactions, Patreon is a wonderful place to go and participate in that, but you do not have to. Once again, it's there only if you want to be a part in real time, and also if you want to binge it all and not wait for all of it to get released onto YouTube in an unknown amount of time. Once again, I am Jess. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I had a blast watching this, and I hope you did too. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Bye.